Hello world, my name is Ashley and welcome back to another video of Living with Ashley J. So today, if you have clicked on this lovely video, you already know the topic. I am talking about walking alone. So I'm going to share with you some experiences in my life where I had to stand alone or walk alone, so to speak. Different trials and tribulations that I've gone through and that I've made it through. So if this is your first time tuning in, go ahead and hit that lovely subscribe button so you can join the family. This is a series I'm doing on my channel called True Stories. So all these stories are true. So you'll have an opportunity just to walk with me, go back in time and just kind of experience what I've experienced. For me, telling you the story of how you can make it through just like I did. Okay? So walking alone. I'm going to just give you just a few topics. So I can remember when I first had my daughter. She's 18 now, but I can remember bringing her home from the hospital and being on my mom's sofa and her telling me that I had to get out. I was separated from my husband at the time and things just weren't going out right. I had my first apartment. I kind of called and see if it was ready because she just basically told me, look, you got to get out. I'm not waiting until your apartment gets ready. You need to go now. So I'm like, baby is 3 days old. I had this room already in her home that she kind of let me temporarily stay in just to kind of get things ready and supposedly show me how being a mother is supposed to work. I'm this young mother. Me and the father are not on the best of terms. And that was my very first moment of, Ashley, this is it. You're it. The show is on. The camera's rolling. You have to make it happen. So I did. I put on my big girl shoes. I put what I could pack inside of a bag. We got on the metro bus and I packed up my baby and we went to our apartment. It was a rough first week experience. First of all, I found out how not to be, or where not to be. I lived in a very, very dangerous neighborhood in Kansas City, Missouri. If you all know anything about Kansas City, Missouri is very dangerous neighborhoods that you should not be in. That was where my first apartment was. It was something that was kind of just temporary, just to get me on my feet and get me going. At the time, I was going to cosmetology school. I had all these aspirations and dreams that I wanted to do. I wanted to get a car. I didn't even have a car yet. And I was still in school. So with that being said, that was my first real live moment. Like, hey, you got to get your foot in, get out there. You're it. You can't rely on nobody. I had to see that for myself. That was one of my really big walking alone moments. My daughter's 18 now. I'm newly married. So I had the opportunity to go through those trials and tribulations, and with her, you know, up and down. I moved to a different state. I did a whole lot of different things, but I took on the responsibility of being her parent and staying there regardless of how rough it got. Number 2 big moment, it's a really big moment for me, was moving out of state. My daughter now that's 18, and then I had another son. That's for a whole other video. But at this point I had 2 children. My marriage was on the rocks. Matter of fact, I had already filed for a divorce. That was in the works. And I decided to just venture off and go to another state. I had lived in Kansas City for a great deal of my lifetime, and I didn't really enjoy the city. It was full of crime. Family was kind of divided at some point, at least on my mom's side. That kind of got me down. My grandma wasn't here anymore, which practically brought me up. She passed away. My mom she wasn't a mom per se. She wasn't nobody I can just call and be like, hey, you know, that mother-daughter bond relationship we never really shared up until I got older. But we're talking about this time in particular. So in this time in particular, I wanted to just venture out and broaden my horizons and give my kids a better opportunity than what I had in the current city that I was living in. So lived in Kansas City. I decided to apply for different jobs in Minnesota. Why did I choose Minnesota? I don't know. It was the closest city. I looked at income and things of that sort. Just a broader opportunity, more opportunities. I wanted to get into home ownership, building up my credit, becoming a business owner. And when I looked at all these things and venturing off to another city, I began to see that this is somewhere that I can eventually grow and blossom as a young mother. So I applied to jobs. I stepped out on faith. I filed my income taxes, y'all. I had been saving up for months and doing those things. I took the big leap of faith. Once I got my offer letter from my job, I went down to go visit. Well, I went to visit first and check out the city, of course. All they had to offer, I checked out apartments. I had already had my apartment lined up, and by this time I had already had a vehicle. I had all my ducks in order, so I handled my business first. Once the job offer came in, it was time for me to start training and that good thing. I arrived in the next state, which was Minnesota. I arrived there 2 weeks prior to give me enough time to get all my license and everything transitioned over. That was my biggest walking alone moment. And the biggest reason why I say that's a walking alone moment, because I was going through a divorce. I had been through so much trauma, and I just wanted a refresh, a restart, to be able to be on the right path and go ahead and fulfill my goals that was holding me back at that particular time. So that was my walking alone moment. I had to do that by myself. I couldn't tell any of my family that I was leaving, because they would have wanted me to stay. They would have told me probably that you need your family. Like, they would have just allowed me to be complacent. I needed to branch out and grow up, so to speak, into that and blossom into that woman that's something that I always inspired to be. You know how you write down those goals and you say, okay, these is my 5-year goals, these are my 10-year goals. Look, I have never written down so many goals in my life and not fulfilled them until I moved out of my comfort zone. So I challenge you, if you need to move out of your comfort zone, do that. If you're in a bad relationship and you need to shift, get your ducks in order. Seek some therapy or some counseling so that you are able to branch out and become that better you that you need to be. If you're looking to get more spiritual, to have a church home, what have you, just make sure you get your ducks in order. Get yourself together first so that you're able to extend and become that better you that you're looking to become, whatever it is. If you struggle with procrastination and not just putting that effort forward, make sure you write down the proper things and journal, guys. Journal. I practice and I preach journal, because you're able to allow yourself personal time to write down your thoughts, personal time to give the necessary things that you need to just brainstorm, and you're taking 5. You know, you see what I'm saying? You don't have anybody else in your personal space. So whatever amount of time you need, journal, write down those personal goals. I recommend you start with 6 months. You can see 6 months a little better than you can 1 year and 5 years, or start with even 3 months. But I challenge you to do that. And then finally, my biggest walking alone moment, and I'll do a later video. Comment down below if you guys would like for me to do a video later, elaborate more on this. My walking alone moment was being divorced, being in another city for at this point I'm living there for years, right? My kids are getting older. I have dated so much, but my biggest walking alone moment is being single and being comfortable being single. Did y'all hear me? Being single and being comfortable being single. What that being said is, you're so in tune with God, and He's allowed you to be so in tune with yourself. You love Him much, you love yourself much, and you are working on yourself diligently so that you can be the best you. So then when that perfect person, and I say perfect in a sense as though perfect for you. You see what I'm saying? Not perfect like they have it all together, but perfect for you. That when that person does come, you're able to receive what that person has to offer. So with that being said, that was my biggest walking alone moment. I went through the phase of dating these people that I shouldn't be dating, and online dating, talking to people I shouldn't be talking to, and playing the blind date and hooking up. And you go through that period where you lonely, and you go through that period where you just want somebody to keep you warm at night, and just hurt, disappointment, bad relationships, all that good jazz. And I had to be careful because I was a single mother. With that being said, ladies, gentlemen, you have to become a person that is okay with walking alone in that singleness. Getting yourself completely together. And I mean getting yourself together. That means your mental health. That means your physical fitness, your financial fitness, your spirituality. That means all that in a bag of chips. That means your credit. Get it together. That means you need to have your duck in order. Get your money saved up. Work on your short-term and long-term goals diligently. Okay? If you would suffer with that spirit of laziness that you don't feel like doing nothing, guess what? You're not ready to advance. You're not ready to meet someone. You're not ready. Get you together. And it's a daily process. It did not happen overnight. Don't think that it's a process. Trust me, I had to walk alone, being single and being comfortable for years. And I'm talking more than 2 years and more than 3 years. So with that being said, do that. Work on yourself. Be comfortable with walking alone. Of course, you're going to have God. But there's going to be those days where you need to look in the mirror and focus on you and say, hey, you know what? Lights are on. Camera's on. You're it. So you need to be able to be comfortable being alone. Not just driving in the car by yourself to go to work or to go pick up you that cup of coffee. I'm talking about alone. Okay? I'm talking about not listening to those people that you want to play the telephone game with that don't have the good information, the good advice, and the good knowledge that you need to listen to. That means talking to a therapist instead of that friend, right? Talking to God more, getting into your word more, journaling more. And I'm gonna keep saying journaling because it helps your mental health. And everybody, if you don't struggle with like mental health, like in a negative way or a bad, I don't want to say negative or bad, but some people struggle with things like stress and depression and anxiety and things on different levels than other people, and they don't know how to channel those emotions in the right directions, or what exercises or things to use properly in order to grow and be able to calm that spirit down. So with that being said, you may need a therapist. You may need to go to your pastor or a counselor or somebody that is mature. Let me say this before I let y'all go. Do not, in your walking alone season, hook up with or confide in someone that cannot give you the confidence, the mature advice that you need. Don't go, if you're trying to get yourself together in your walking alone stage, on whatever stage you're working on. You could be, we're trying to work on, I don't know, exercising, right? You're not going to go confide in somebody like going out to eat with you every other day. That's not your partner. You need to go find either a fitness coach. You need to go find someone that's lost a bunch of weight. If you look here on YouTube, there are tons of testimonials of people that have gone through gaining weight and effectively losing it in a healthy manner without the other things, without surgery and all that other good stuff. So my whole point was what I'm saying to you. Find someone, if you can, in your walking alone season, because it is walking alone, but sometimes you need support in the beginning, right? So find someone that can adequately help you, that have matured, surpassed that point that you need help. And it's not necessarily that they're guiding you and you got to tell them everything and they're holding your hand, but somebody you can say, you know what, I just want you to listen, right? And if you don't have that, that's fine. Check out the link below. There's some therapists I'm going to list. You do your own research, okay? Don't say Ashley sent me here and blah, 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 and I like the service. Do your own research, okay? So my whole point is to say walking alone should be something you should be able to do with a clear mind. You should be able to do with a clear heart. It's going to be trials. It's going to be tribulations. It's going to be struggles. It's going to be some people you just going to have to let go and let God, like for real. Okay. So walking alone is a thing where you go through something, but the key about it is it's not about what you go through, it's how you react to what you go through. So in your season of walking alone, make sure that you are being your best you no matter what. Okay, take care of you, because self-care is important. And in order to take care of you, you have to take care of you the best so you can extend forward. Okay, and like I always say, be kind to yourself, others, and including strangers. And until next time, peace.